And that's the DA spokesperson, Nqakula, speaking earlier on. We now turn to Dr. Iraj Abedian, Chief Economist at the Pan-African Investment and Research Services, to get his point of view on this fracas. Dr. Abedian, pleasure to have you. I want to refer you back to what the Minerals and Energy Minister, Gwede Mantashe, said when asked about this matter. He said that and I quote him directly, we are not talking about a president that has stolen resources. We are talking about an issue of a president whose money was stolen. Therefore, if that money was in the wrong place at the wrong time, therefore SARS must deal with that issue and the Reserve Bank must deal with exchange controls. What should have happened and what should we understand in terms of what is happening at the moment with the bid that opposition parties are taking, including to compel the South African Reserve Bank to give some sort of response that will satisfy South Africans of transparency?
Thank you very much, and greetings to our viewers. I think the big issue, as we all know, is that there is a lot of speculation and very little facts. And the facts are known only by the president. So it would have been very helpful if the president came out outright, not to say, well, I haven't broken any laws, or it's not what you see, or it's not what is said. He would say, well, this is what happened. And that would have then put a lot of speculations to bed, and it would have then enabled the Reserve Bank, the investigating officers, the SARS, who else has to be, including the law enforcement agencies on the crime side, to just investigate whether what the president says is correct or not, and that would have brought it very quickly to some conclusion. To the extent that the president keeps, for whatever reason, and presumably the lawyers have advised him, he just says very little, if anything, other than saying, well, trust me, I haven't stolen money, but that's not good enough. The fact of the matter is, and the president does not deny, that there were a sum of foreign exchange on the property as part of the business. Now, some businesses are licensed to do that because their trade, their business is in foreign exchange, and up to a point for a limited time are allowed to keep certain amount of foreign exchange on their premises as a business.
Right. Dr. Abedian, in layman's terms, can you then just break it down for us? Because I think at the heart of it, for a lot of us laymen, there is clearly a trust deficit. Where it emanates from, we need to understand if there have been foreign exchange violations here, particularly to do with the president. He has disputed the amount that has been quoted. But what I was asking the EFF's deputy president earlier on, if this would be a matter of public record, whether limited authority or not, whether the president and his business are authorized dealers of foreign exchange.
That's a center point. It's not that the amount is not important, but there is $4 million or $100,000. The first question is very simple. Is the business of Phala Phala allowed to have foreign exchange as part of its business? Is it allowed to transact in that? Yes or no? If yes, how much? Is it $1 million, $4 million, $10 million? And we all know that the livestock that the president's business is involved in are expensive stocks. But that's not the issue. The issue is how much is the business licensed to do? Is the Reserve Bank Foreign Exchange Control Division aware of it? Is a copy of that license in place? Are the bankers of that business of Phala Phala can confirm that this business is allowed to have X amount, whether it's thousands or millions of foreign exchange on the premises at any point in time? These are very simple questions, but we are not getting clarity on it, and that's where the confusions come in.
What are the administrative responsibilities of Exchange Control Regulations 2, subsection 2, read alongside the Financial Intelligence Sector Act? I'm just trying to understand what if, irrespective of the amount, the president, should he have been authorized with this foreign exchange authority, would he have fallen? And of course, as you said, a lot of this is obscure in terms of how long the money was there, but what would have been his obligations? His
obligations would have been to comply with the license that he is allowed or permit that he's been issued to transact up to a point, amount keep up to a point, and if it's beyond that point, he should immediately contact his bankers who have to fill a particular form. And we've all done it in our businesses. Even tourists, when they come back, they have to go to the bank and fill the form and put back the extra currency that if they've bought. It's the same principle. Business is obviously a different form. And it's very simple. Do the bankers of Phala Phala have record of such forms being filled and lodged with the Reserve Bank? Yes, no. Is it within the limits? Yes, no. And all those is very, very systematic administrative procedures that need to be audited, and either the president has violated some or not, and we don't know, because the president who knows or his business managers are not coming out with those details.
No. Just by the issue of what the president would have declared at Parliament in terms of his interest, assets or businesses, I believe that in terms of the exchange controls regulations, the control of South Africa's foreign currency reserves as well as accruals and spending is vested in the Treasury. Is that limited to an amount? And I'm asking this against the backdrop of whether or not the Department of Finance would have been aware of these dealings.
We don't know, and again, every business is licensed differently to the best of my knowledge. A bank like a standard bank has got a different license for foreign exchange holding than a smaller bank and a smaller business, a trading business, etc., etc. So all these are not one size fit all. Every business is licensed within a certain parameters of foreign exchange transactions and foreign exchange holding. And beyond that, then you mentioned the Financial Intelligence Center. If this money has come through proper financial channels, again, the Financial Intelligence Center has got responsibility to establish that. We don't know if it's been brought by foreigners who flown into the country with bags of cash and they've paid for the stock. Well, where is the record of that? How did they bring the money in? Who are they? On which date they purchased, etc., etc. The transactions should have an invoice there. There is a receipt of funds. Where is the receipt for that? All of that would establish whether everything is according to the law and in proper administrative order, or there are shortcuts, or God forbid, there are improper actions or omission of the administrative compliance.
I mean, there's disputes over the timeline in terms of the interest declared by the president. I mean, it was said that up until 2011, there is no mention of a property called Phala Phala Wildlife Estate that is mentioned. But by that, just in terms of the responsibility carried by the president in terms of the members' codes of ethics, is this something that a president of a country should be involved with, given the large sums of money that the asset, if we're talking about Nqakula farming and the bulls themselves, how much they go for, that a president should be involved with, whether it's foreign exchange, dealing with outsiders who would exchange this amount of money with him? Because there are a lot of questions around the ethics of that. I'd like to hear your thoughts around it.
I think it's very simple. The simple question is no. You don't expect the president to run his own business as an auctioneer or a stock manager. A business, and this is not a small business, and the president is not a small businessman. He's a billionaire in the country, one of the top 10. And in that sense, every business has got business manager. In fact, what should the president at all have to do with dollars or rands for that matter in his businesses? He is not a business manager, he's a business owner. And therefore, there are a lot of questions as to why at all his name comes up. You don't expect the president to be occupied with this type of daily, mundane cash counting and checking whether the numbers are right or wrong. There is a business, a multi-million business has got a solid executive management who runs this business, as well as the contract legal side, as well as the financial side. But the president shouldn't have anything to do with the cash. So those are the issues that the president is not, in my view, coming out quickly enough to put it to bed. The longer it takes, the worse for the president and even worse for the country.
Thank you so much for your time and insights, Dr. Iraj Abedian. He's the chief economist at the Pan-African Investment and Research Services. So we've been getting comment from various quarters of society. The governing party, the ANC, says it hasn't taken any disciplinary action. In other news, against Finance Minister Nqakula, this